Tiff and Rach here. We are the Nobodies, and this is our podcast.
Well, we are here in our tiny little abode. We're technically right now sitting in our walk-in closet of our Airbnb, just reminiscing on day 5 of our training at Anatomy Train Structural Integration. It's our last term certification, and we had a exchange yesterday. Tiff and I exchanged our superficial backline.
Which is session 2 in a series of 12. And we both had different sensations in different areas of ways that we felt lifted, because the first session, we lifted the superficial front line. And so what that did was give us a real sensation of being hiked up in the back. And Rach experienced it, I don't want to speak for her, in a different place. I experienced it around my bra line and up, just feeling like my shoulders were going to climb over the top of my body and ogre their way onto the front side.
It's mine. I sensed that I couldn't really get into my heels. And so yesterday morning at the gym, I even started to experience something I haven't experienced, which is kind of like a deep feeling in my lower shin that kind of gives you a glimmer of a feeling like, don't go here, like don't overstretch me. And so I heeded the warning.
Yes,
and
queen.
Very much. We talked about it. We've been deloading since we started our sessions with each other. And even today, it was a cardio event with, I shouldn't say, it was probably a little more hybrid like, but we're on day 6 of training today, and because we started on a Sunday, and it's been a long week. It's been real thick.
A 2-Wednesday week, I call it.
Yeah, it was a double hump.
Yep, a dromedary.
Yeah.
So what I noticed yesterday, which is interesting in the exchange, let me just paint a little picture for you. So we are in a bizarrely appointed room in a somewhat haphazard massage therapy school near an airport. So it gives off vibes, right? And you walk in, and it's this big room with these very dirty floors and tables line by line by line. And in the first session when we exchanged, I felt both in the session that I gave Rach and the session I received from Rach that there was just this thick force field around us, and I really couldn't sense or make heads or tails of what was going on around me. I was very in what was happening. And yesterday was very different. I was very not in what was happening for most of the session. I kept really trying to access my breath and tune back in. And it just gave me this sensation. I've always joked that what's on the back of my head, meaning the back of my hair, is none of my business. And I joke that that's how I feel about the backside of my body. And that's how I truly felt yesterday. There were things that got my attention physically, but I couldn't tune in to what was happening on a deeper level for some reason. And I don't know if that's because we were in the back line or just the way everyone was behaving yesterday. I don't know, a combination of the two. But it was different than session 1 for sure.
Yeah, and we also had this kind of like real, you have this intensity around you of all these multiple other pairings that aren't as connected as Tiff and I. Some of these people are relatively, before this training, were strangers to each other, and it's this kind of understanding that they're navigating like a different relationship and getting to know each other as we are.
Yeah.
And I mean, we both have shown up wanting to give each other a really badass 12 series.
Yep.
And be with each other for each step of it. And we're also understanding that this is we're talking to tissue right now so that we access that deeper stuff that we are going to have to lay into in the coming weeks.
Yep.
And there's so much of what both of our patterns ascribe to both of us that are having us know that there is a lot to come. So yesterday and our first session were these preparatory phases and allowing us to feel these very real things. Like Tiff's experience on her first session, I was with her and I was with her in those moments, and they were really intense. I can't say right now that I have felt the intensity yet. There were some moments and some glimmers of knowing what's to come for me because I am really ready to shed. I have a lot of lift that is ready for me. And other than that, we watched Tom do a session yesterday, and he's just got this like way about him when he is with somebody that he's both treating and then teaching with us, that somehow he holds a container for that person that is
and for us
in both
students.
Little separate things, in allowing. And I've really I've tried to take that bit away of watching him pause in his responses when he's like, okay, hang on here. This is a question that we're going to answer later. I see you trying to seek further ahead, but I really want to bring you back to the present moment. Mm-hmm. And that was a good reminder. He can see what he'd like to do down the line. We're learning that right now. And I think that that's what we have to go into today. So we're doing model sessions today.
Mm-hmm.
And
Session 2.
And, you know, all of our models bring something to the table, and some of it is nuanced.
Yep.
And I feel like my person definitely has major features, but she's done such great work in her life to collect herself that I'm having to like kind of tease out smaller areas that I didn't think that would be as difficult for me to see. And so I'm going to just have to bring myself back. But we must make this a brief...
Yes, a brief cast today.
We have a quiz this morning on both session 1 and 2.
Yeah, so, not only do we trade model sessions with each other and outside models, we then also are tested on anatomical knowledge. And we were just talking through the foot because it is the base of everything. And it is such a powerful place to work, both sensorily, because there are 90,000?
70,000 nerve endings.
Excuse me, I was being hyperbolic.
Yes.
In the foot.
In the foot.
Yeah.
And there's 28 bones, including these tiny little sesamoid bones at the base of your big toe.
Little sesame seeds.
Yeah, they're little
tendon in place.
Yeah, and it also it bolsters the tendon from being pressed when you take a step.
Yep.
And those are really interesting places in the body, and putting a lot more emphasis on seeing what the development is. We never leave our embryonic phase, and that's something I've learned from this work. And we are always an embryo unfolding and changing, and
our entire lives
we can continuously change. And I think for some who have been stuck, knowing that you are, whether you know it or not, is something that can be very powerful. So
and that session 1 is what gives you that little sparkle of
change,
of what's to come, what could be.
Yep. And and what spatial medicine is. So we shall meet again from our tiny closet abode, and we'll report back.
Peace and love, friends.
Have a good day.